Hi everyone, I'm Antony from Glow. I think I'm the penultimate presenter, so hopefully you're still with me. Glow, we are Facebook SPMD, which means Strategic Preferred Marketing Developer. There are, I think, around 12 globally now, and well, the benefits that gives us is that we've got a close relationship with Facebook, where they will often recommend advertisers to us, and also if there are new Facebook products coming up, then we'll often get the opportunity to test those products using our platform. So Glow has built a platform which makes it easier to scale and run Facebook advertising, and we both manage Facebook budgets for advertisers and agencies, and also license our software to advertisers and agencies. Typically, when we're licensing our software, it's for a more sophisticated user who is kind of well-developed and spending quite a lot on Facebook already and just looking to scale that activity. We're London-based as well. We're a British company. In fact, our key investor is Florian Heinemann, who was mentioned earlier, who is the founder of Project A Ventures in Berlin, really interesting company, an e-commerce ventures company. He also was one of the founders of Rocket Internet. So, yeah, in terms of some of our clients, we've actually got quite a diverse range of clients across a number of sectors, from pretty big corporate clients like American Express, who we're working with globally for their social budgets, to US Bank in the US, to Spotify, who we're working with in multiple markets, to travel clients like HRS, low-cost holidays, to actually more sort of fashion, retail, and indeed a few luxury clients like Zegna in Italy. We've actually got offices in a number of countries: Singapore, New York, and soon to open up in Berlin. In terms of spend, I think the two brands there that are probably not known as much are, to most people, would be King and Pretty Simple. They're gaming clients. You probably know their product, but not necessarily the company. And actually, they are still the biggest spenders on Facebook because the whole casual gaming market is clearly huge, and Facebook is clearly the most effective channel to get people to download and then play more games, which we'll talk about in a bit. In terms of why would you bother with Glow as a platform, as a software choice? The most basic reasons are that if you are using Power Editor, the Facebook tool, and as was said yesterday, Facebook would also say this as well, it's relatively difficult to be able to scale your campaigns. It's a very manual process. You're creating campaigns one by one. Any sort of optimization that you're doing is completely manual, is completely using your eyes. There's no automation involved. And clearly, as has been mentioned many times over the last few days, the key to success with Facebook advertising is testing, testing, testing. Everything is done at an ad level. So if I want to create an ad which has an image, a title, a body, targeted to a man of 25, and then I wanted to target a man of 26, it's another ad. Every variation is another ad. And clearly the key to performance success is testing and optimization, as is done with FBX and retargeting, like we heard before, which is a more automated process compared to Facebook native advertising, where I'm not able to optimize against a user. I'm effectively optimizing all my ad variations. So if I'm using Power Editor, the Facebook tool, I'm creating one campaign, I'm creating one ad, I'm looking at performance, I'm changing budget. And this is a long process. And clearly, that's therefore pretty impossible to scale to great success. And so fundamentally, our platform does two things. It enables you to build lots of ads really, really quickly and easily optimize to whatever your performance goals are. So if my whatever action I want to measure against is above or below X or Y, then I can perform an action which is either positive or negative. So if it's not working, stop it. If it's working really well, amplify it. So in terms of some kind of semi-case studies or examples of clients we work with and why they work with us and what they need to achieve. And like I said, quite a few different verticals, so it's quite interesting that when you're looking at Facebook today, I think it's a fantastic performance marketing channel for a variety of different targets, including in finance, where clearly an acquisition is a very high value acquisition. The cost of that acquisition can be higher because the long-term value of a credit card application, a loan, a mortgage is significantly higher. And in order to achieve that success, again, it comes down to testing. And so with US Bank, some of the findings that we came out with from running their activity and still running their activity on an ongoing basis are actually, if you increase your delivery between 6 to 10 p.m., that's best for conversions. And also partner category data, which is relatively new with Facebook, which is third-party data, which you're able to include into your campaign targeting. And that data is coming from Axiom, Data Logics, a couple of other companies. And a lot of the data is point-of-sale data, so it's quite interesting and sort of more demographic, where I can target people who have 3 or more rooms in their house, who have lots of credit cards, who check price comparison sites often, that type of targeting. Well, that works really well when it comes to a high-value acquisition. Also, we have found a lot of e-commerce advertisers, particularly in fashion, are starting to work with us, and it's working really well for them. And the point here is that it's performance for retail without retargeting. So I've worked for a number of retargeting companies in the past, Criteo, Struck, MyThings, lots of them. So I've seen the growth of retargeting, and it's a huge market. It performs really well, which is brilliant, but often the likes of Arcadia, the likes of Ukes, the likes of ASOS, these kind of guys, they will only have faith in retargeting or paid search. And so we've got to a stage with a lot of these kind of brands where they've now got faith in Facebook. And actually what's great is they're delivering the performance on a post-click basis, but to actually people who aren't already customers. How do we do that? Well, testing, lots of broad category testing, interest data testing, so things like competitor brands, media brands. I mean, clearly their audience are on Facebook. And so it's a question of refining and finding those users who are actually going to buy. And in order to target people who aren't their customers, simply use custom audiences. So we can take a file of all their existing customers, obviously hash the email addresses, and then exclude people who aren't already customers. So it really is prospecting. And with a considerably high ROI on average. Other sectors that we're working with, so we've got a lot of clients with apps, and clearly it's really interesting today when you see these businesses start with some kind of seed investment, and then 3 to 6 months later they're able to go for their Series A, and the whole process can happen really, really quickly from nothing to being successful and having a product which is commonly used. And here are a couple of examples which are very, very different as well. Gederma is a German client of ours, and basically you download the app, you take a photo of a skin ailment. It's not particularly attractive, but there you go. And you then can basically pay for a doctor to give you an opinion on what that is. And so the monetization happens at the point where you get the diagnosis, the quote, whatever you want to call it, to just kind of content, good content apps. OneFootball, which is a company called Motane, who are German, I think, or Dutch, I can't quite remember. And so they have a great app, great football content, clearly spending a lot of budget now. And so, you know, the stages to success are Facebook is the best way to drive mobile app installs, clearly. But now there's far more to it because there are lots of mobile measurement companies where I can actually track, well, firstly, who's monetizing within my app, and then using the Facebook software developer kit, then understand how, well, set up campaigns according to people who are monetizing after installing, and then have lots of campaigns running which are for people who have installed but not monetized, etc. So really interesting, and the whole process from zero to hero can be very quick. So integrate measurement, optimize to monetization. There's a quote from Motane, Casper von Klot. I'm guessing he's probably Dutch. So yeah, really interesting. And in terms of the scope of opportunity, both for marketers who have a product is huge, and obviously clearly for companies who can make Facebook advertising work really well, huge too. Otherwise, in terms of other sectors and talking about custom audiences again, clearly the gaming industry, as I've said, is huge, and the likes of King, who have Candy Crush, which the penetration of Candy Crush globally is absolutely phenomenal. You'll meet more people who haven't, who, you know, in the world, just everyone plays Candy Crush, to other sorts of games who, which I'd not heard of personally previously, but there you go, like Word, which is a company in Germany again. There's lots of companies in Asia. And so all these games are huge, and clearly Facebook is a fantastic channel to drive installs. But then, thereafter, these types of companies, gambling, gaming companies, have a really, really sophisticated view of the value of their customers. And that's the key. I can get someone to install, but if I get 10 million installs, then, you know, if I can get 10% of those people to be really valuable ongoing players, then, you know, that's clearly successful. And I can look at the value of customers based on, I guess, their time and how much they spend, which is on the far left, going up. And so the best customers are people who are with me for a long time and always spend a lot. And then you have your core customers, your core loyal customers, you have potential customers, and you have people who are fast trackers. And I guess the point is with Facebook, I can then separate these audiences into all these different types of value propositions to me, and then understand how much I want to pay for the segment, for the cluster, according to its value, understand what message I want to give to that segment. So do I want to tell them to come back, and because 3 months ago you were valuable, then you're valuable today, so come back and here is X amount of free money or an offer or whatever it is. And clearly Facebook is an incredible way of achieving this with custom audiences to really optimize to your most valuable customers. When you look at games like Candy Crush, where the whole world has that app on their phone virtually, then the more custom audiences I can create, the more granular I can be, then you know, that's really interesting. And coming back to the point about why work with Glow, well, if I'm going to be that granular with that amount of scale, which means I'll be spending millions on Facebook, then I'm going to need a tool which is going to make that a really, really easy process for me to achieve that success. So custom audiences, clearly one thing. And then we've heard it mentioned a lot today, but lookalike audiences as well. And I don't think there's a more qualified lookalike audience than with Facebook. because with Facebook, it's identity data, so I can really, really find someone who looks like my audience, and I can create as many different custom audiences as I like. And again, looking at the left, I can create lookalike audiences for all of these key groups of existing customers. So I can really do some interesting things, and that's important for these guys because their spend is so large. Sports betting, in terms of some of the stuff that we've done and some of the things that we've found works well. So precise interest targeting for matches is really good in terms of players and that type of thing. And also just running lots of different ads, pre-match, middle of the match, end of the match, and also using the right creative as well, the right sort of news-related copy, and not being too salesy, I guess. And so we've seen some great results. I can't say who this is, unfortunately, but it worked really well for funded accounts. And so those are some examples of the different industries we work with, from retail, from casual gaming, from gambling to apps, etc. And then also coming back to tracking, it's important that all of these different companies, when they get to that six-figure plus spend per month, then clearly the way that they measure the value is really important. And from either Google Analytics to DoubleClick, when it comes to the mobile side, the more mobile measurement side of things, there are approved Facebook partners. And the key is also that we are integrated with these key tracking partners. So the lenses that they view everything are the same as us. And that's important for them in terms of the way we optimize, or the way they optimize using our tool, and also the reporting that we're able to give them. So when you have, say, some of the finance clients, then they may be looking at Facebook data, and they may be looking at third-party ad server data, and then they may be looking at their own in-house data around who's applied and actually accepted. And so the key is reconciling all those three data points. So as many integrations as we can do to help that process, the easier it makes it to scale the spend, because you know that this is really working through the lens that you're measured on as well as a marketer. Also, one of the things that Glow is really good at, that I think stands us out quite well, is we have an API, and that means that we have a great product to scale Facebook advertising, but if we need something extra, or if a client needs something a little bit more custom, so our product then gets tailored into their product, we can do that. One great example is with Spotify, who we work with as a client, like I mentioned. So basically there we have an API into all of their content. So you heard about product feeds before, and product feeds are essential for retargeting with retailers. But if you think about Spotify and the amount of content they have, well, it's infinite. And so as we've integrated into their API, when we're building ads or when they're building ads, you can literally sort through any artist, any album, also the top-selling albums, top-selling artists, and then create ads with that content thereafter. So that is really real-time ad creation. In terms of how we structure the way we service clients, like I said, we either manage clients or we work with them on a software license basis. And typically, I think the ideal scenario is where if there's an advertiser who has budget but doesn't have that much experience, if we can manage it for them for, say, the first 3 months or so, and then transition them to using the software themselves, that works really well, because not only is it about actually training an advertiser about how to use a bit of kit, but it's also, let's help you with the strategy. This is all we do. We're really quite well versed in terms of understanding what works and how to spend budget well. And then as that develops, as the spend develops, and maybe you as an advertiser also has more resource in-house, then we can transition our strategies, we can transition how to operate the software over to you. And we'll have a team for each client that we work with, where there's an account director, an account manager, account exec, and also our product director, like in the Spotify example, will work alongside where there are interesting opportunities for integrations, which is just that. So managed service, hybrid, transition to a SaaS is the ideal scenario. Yeah, that's the future, I guess, coming up. As the world of social advertising grows and all these social networks have APIs, have better APIs, then the idea is that we are mirroring their ad products and basically making it really, really easy for advertisers who really want to scale their spend to be able to do that. And then I guess in the future, the ultimate vision is how we can really be cross-social and help advertisers optimize across all the different social networks. And that's relatively challenging because fundamentally you're not working with a cookie, you're not working with an anonymous ID across all of these networks. Because it's people's identity, you can't do that. And so to be truly cross-social, I think is still a challenge. That's that. Thanks very much.